the new supply. Hello lovelies, welcome to Narc Formula. My name's Freedom, thank you for joining me. Let's jump straight into this, shall we? This is an interesting one. I've got notes, so if I'm looking down, that is what I'm doing. So, most of us were shocked at the speed that the narcissist got involved with the new supply, right? After the discard or after you've escaped them. So, how did the narcissist move on so quickly? And how new is the new supply? So, this it might be like a two parts. I'll see how it goes. All right. So, in a normal breakup, you know, there's fighting and arguing and conversations and tears and, you know, making up sometimes, working together to try and get back together after a breakup. But for the narcissist, this is a different scenario altogether. So, whether you know it or not, or knew it or not, the narcissist has a narc harem. So this is literally a group of, or not a group because they're not in one space, but they have connections. So the narcissist has connections to all different women. So it might be work colleagues, neighbours, acquaintances, friends of family, anyone that's kind of confided in the narcissist. So it could be like, you know, one of their mates' girlfriends, for example. Anyone who's kind of been in any of the narcissist spheres. So spheres like as in, you know, where they work, live, play, hunt, etc. So the narcissist has kind of made a mental note of what is going on with everyone, you know, because they're always sourcing new supply. So they will know if someone is lonely, if someone's unhappy with their partner, if someone's, you know, attracted to them, interested in them, if someone's desperate, right? The narcissist makes notes of all this stuff. And so they kind of work on that stuff. Literally, they will create a connection with these people, all different people, all at once, right, interlapping, and they work on those people, where that individual is at. So the one who is lonely, for example, you know, the narcissist becomes a companion and says things to them like, you know, I really enjoy spending time with you. I wish I could spend more time with you. You know, this is fun when we do this. I feel like we've been friends for such a long time. I feel like I've known you in a past life. You know, they know exactly what to say to the person to get that person feeling kind of connected to the narcissist. All right, so every time they've helped someone out, you know, or done something, none of that, like narcissists don't do anything for free. Nothing for free, right? There's always an invisible kind of thread attaching them to that person, you know. So if they've done something good for that person, in that person's mind, you know, oh, they're such a nice bloke, you know, he came and mowed the lawns for me, you know, oh, that's so sweet. Or he lent me money, or he gave me a lift. Oh, he's just such a nice guy. You know, oh, I wish my ex had been more like him, or I wish my husband or whatever was more like him. So they play the roles that people are seeking. You know, you've got to remember they create this facade, and it's different for everyone. So they play different characters for every different person. But the thing is, like I said, so they've targeted, they've found out who's desperate, who's lonely, who's sad, who wants a new partner. They've targeted that. They've created, like I said, this illusion of who they are to that person, who they can be to that person, right? And as I said, it's all transactionary. There's nothing that's been given away for free. So they're priming and grooming a whole stack of women, essentially. The potential victims don't even know this, right? So they just see the narcissist, like I said, as friendly, helpful, considerate, caring, and they wish that their man was more like that, right? So it makes the victims feel special. And they might even say things like, oh, your wife doesn't realise what a good man she's got, you know, oh, your wife is so lucky, that kind of thing, right? And they believe that. So when it comes time for the narcissist to make a transition, or they're sourcing new supply, so just for example, if you have left them and all of a sudden they don't have a current primary source of supply, they need to upgrade one of these women from the harem. Pronto, smart, quick smart, right now, right? So the victim already knows, trusts, and likes the narcissist. And so when they hear, right, that, oh, you've left them, you left the poor narcissist, and that, but, it's okay because we haven't been, we weren't, we were just staying together for the kids. Anyhow, we've been sleeping in separate rooms for the last 5 years, and and the narcissist was just staying there because out of loyalty and because they believe in family so much. But now this, the bitch ex-wife is leaving. She's left him, right? And so the new supply is surprised, but it's not the narcissist's fault. He's been left, and they weren't happy anyhow, right? Got to remember also, the narcissist, like I said, has been working on different women to the point where some of these women are, have a crush on the narcissist. Some might even be, getting some feelings for the narcissist. And then when the narcissist then turns around and says things like, that they, the narcissist, was secretly in love with the new victim, had been secretly in love with them, for months, years, whatever, but never thought they'd have the opportunity because, they were staying in their unhappy marriage, and, that now they've got the opportunity, they're going to seize that moment to be happy. Someone with low self-esteem who is wanting to be, in a relationship could quite easily fall for that. And once they hear, so once the new supply hears about how cold you are and how calculating you are, what a bitch you are and how cruel you are, and the things that you said about them, right? Because you've got to remember, the narcissist will always turn the new supply against you. So if it was someone that so if it was, I don't know, your sister, your neighbor, excuse me, one of your acquaintances and colleagues, right? The narcissist has to turn the new supply against you. So they're going to have to say, the things she used to say about you. And so the new supply then kind of feels vindicated, and it's like, it's okay. Like, they don't have to take your feelings into consideration. They don't have to care about your kids because, you don't care about them anyhow because you're the one that's breaking up this marriage. So obviously you don't care about your kids and you don't care about marriage. Unlike the narcissist, who's all about marriage. He's all about the kids and commitment. He was the one that was loyal, and he was the one who stayed with you for all those years, even though he wasn't attracted to you. He stayed because he's a good man. This is the stuff they tell the new supply, which, as I said, gets the new supply on board so quickly, with no regard for you, and makes them so easy to manipulate. So in reality, when we talk about how new is the new supply, they're never new. This is not just like, the narcissist and I broke up and then the next day he just randomly met someone at the supermarket. That's not how this stuff happens. You might not have known about this person. You might not have a clue that he has any connection to this person. But believe me, the narcissist is always working on their supply chain. So they can't go, just like an addict, they cannot go without having fuel. They need it, right? So they're going to always make sure they have, like I said, this backup. And it can be very confusing when you are, the partner of a narcissist. It can be very confusing when this stuff starts to happen. One sec. Sorry. It can be very confusing when you're the partner of a narcissist and you're going through the stages of a breakup. And like I said, they go from being, saying things like, baby, 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 please, let's sort things out. And then go from that to being very distant. Now, the reason it's so confusing for you is you don't realize that simultaneously, as they're saying all these things to you over here, they're also working on a new person, or maybe even multiple people, to try and get them into being ready, essentially, to take your place. It is very confusing, like I said, when you experience it firsthand. For myself, my situation was, there was 5 women that he was working on, and in various different stages, and I at that stage was a bit of a detective, if I do say so myself, and I was looking into things and kind of keeping a gauge on what was going on. that was super confusing, because, you know, if it was just one person, you could say, oh, well, he's falling in love with this person, or, you know, he's cheating on me with this person, right? But when it's 5 different people and they're all in different stages, these were all single women, except the one he ended up with, ironically, except her fella was in jail. So once again, this goes back to they were all friends of friends, or in his case, customers, clients, people that he was making money from, and their boyfriends, their girlfriends. So he was friends with the mates, with the blokes, and these women were all the girlfriends, right? Like I said, very, very confusing when you are going through what you think is just a normal breakup. You know, they 1 minute they're one way, 1 minute the next, but it's because, as I said, as you're going through your little situation with them, someone else is going through a different situation. So when things are going well for them over here, right? So when the new supply is looking like it's going to be on track and things are going well, right? They don't need you, so they can go through with the discard. But when things aren't working well over here, just say it starts to go a bit, you know, tits up, and all of a sudden they're looking like they're not going to have new supply, well, that's when they come back with the, oh, baby, I love you. I'm so sorry. You know, I don't know what I was thinking. Right? So they're going, can you imagine what it must be like for them, though? Right? This is the thing. Imagine going from that to, you know, oh, we don't sleep together. You know, we haven't been intimate in years. She's such a bitch to me. She's so cruel. I only stay for the kids. Like, this is the kind of things that they're going through backwards and forwards. Anyhow, it's crazy. Let me quickly check my notes. But essentially, at the end of the day, the new supply is never new. You might not know, but the new supply is never new. And this is how they get them, like I said, from, you know, this kind of the garage, the Narc harem, or the Narc garage, from being just a member of the garage to being the primary supply, right? They're already almost there. Sorry, darlings, I was just distracted. Someone was at the door. So, where was I? I don't remember. I think I would just like to finish by saying that this looks different depending on whether you were discarded or you escaped the narcissist. So it looks slightly different, but underneath it all, the same thing is occurring. Essentially, the narcissist is priming and grooming one of their other sources of supply, one of their secondary sources of supply from the Narc garage. They're priming them and getting them ready to take your position. Now, the only kind of difference I would say is that when you have escaped the narcissist, right, that really forces their hand, because they weren't expecting that. That wasn't part of the plan, essentially. You know, you know it wasn't part of the plan, because the narcissist in their mind is always supposed to discard you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to link a second one here. All right, let's link this one here. Okay, part 2, lovelies. So this part 2 is when you have escaped the narcissist and they have upgraded secondary supply into the position of primary supply. So essentially, you were primary supply and you have gotten the hell out of Dodge, and now they are flailing around urgently trying to upgrade one of their sources of supply. Now the difference here between if you were discarded is that they had found someone that they thought was worthy of replacing you, essentially. However, if you escape them, they now have to do a desperation pick, essentially. They have to choose someone out of the harem that they already have. So maybe they do go back to an ex. You know, maybe they go with someone who's, you know, really not suited, but is just so easy and ready and primed, ready to make that move on. You know, it really just depends on all these different sources of supply that they have lined up. So all these different women or men, whatever, you know, the different women that they have, what's going on in their lives, how the narcissist has managed to maneuver and position themselves in that person's life. And the narcissist will have, like I said, wormed and wheedled their way into different positions in different people's lives. Okay, but essentially it's always the same. They're getting fuel from this person through admiration, you know, through praise, thanks, whatever it is, they're getting fuel from this person. And so when they are losing their primary source of supply, when that person's decided to leave them, like I said, they would have probably got a bit of a whispering on the winds. They're pretty intuitive, and because they watch and they pay attention to signs and signals essentially. So they probably were already alerted to the fact that you were going to leave. You might have even told them, you might have said, oh, we've got problems, and if we don't sort them out, then I'm going to have to leave, whatever. So instead of just fixing the problems like healthy normal people would do, the narcissist goes, oh crap, she's going to leave me, so I better sort myself out some supply just in case she leaves. And so they, like I said, they will look at upgrading whoever they have got positioned close to them. And as I said, it's always a downgrade in that particular instance. It'll always be a downgrade, because if they had thought those people worthy of leaving you for, they would have already discarded you and moved on to another source of supply. It's just the way they are. They're opportunistic, they always take advantage of things, and they always want something better than what they have. And so if they don't think that that person is better than what they have, then they're not going to make that move. But if you leave them, if you escape them, and they're looking like having no supply, no fuel, then they're going to, like I said, they're going to work fast on probably a number of their supply sources to see who's ready to go. And it doesn't matter to them which one it is, essentially. They might have like a kind of a priority, but at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. It's just about getting someone to fill that primary role, because they need, not only do they need for themselves the fuel, but they also want to be able to go, no, I didn't need you anyhow. I'm so much happier now with my, new thing. Oh, you left me or whatever, I don't care. I've got a new partner, I'm happy. So they need that to throw in your face, essentially, when you've discarded them. Because, but when you've escaped them. Because when you escape a narcissist, that leaves a narcissistic injury. They are wounded by that. This affects their self-esteem, their image, their self-image, their reputation as well. They really want to show the world, no, nothing's wrong with me, mate. No, I'm not the problem. She's the problem. Look, I'm already in a relationship. Like, look at me over here in my relationship. Not realizing that people, normal, healthy people, think, what? You're in a relationship 2 years? You're in a relationship after 2 weeks. But weren't you married for like 15 years? What's going on here, mate? That's what normal, healthy people think. But to the narcissist, they just don't think like that, So they think it's a display of how good they are, Oh, I'm so wanted, and so, everyone wants me. Look at me, I'm moved on already. Anyhow, so it's quite fascinating to observe. I'm going to link back here to part 1 if you missed it. And I've got a whole playlist about the new supply, because when you understand what's going on with the new supply, it doesn't mess with your head so much, essentially, because that stuff will mess with your head. When you finally escape the narcissist and they turn around and hook up with someone else, so all of a sudden, all of the times, the things that they said, oh, I love you and I'll never leave you till death do us part, and please, baby, don't leave me, please, please, please. When they go from that to all of a sudden being in a new relationship, and it's all about that person now, that is really confronting, essentially. It makes you look at the reality, and the reality is you don't mean anything to the narcissist. I mean, the new supply doesn't mean anything to the narcissist either. Neither does the woman that's coming after her, That's just the reality, but it is confronting, there's no doubt about it. So check out the videos in the playlist. And also, I want to hear from you guys about your experience with the new supply, and if you agree or disagree on my take. All right, darlings, thanks for listening. Bye.